Have you ever felt like you were bending over backwards for someone, hoping they would choose you? Like if you just explain yourself one more time, or show them how much you cared, or prove that you were loyal, only to find out that it was never enough. I've been there, most of us have. But something happened this Valentine's Day that reminded me why this lesson matters so much. I'll tell you exactly what it was. Hi, I'm Ty Love, and this is Love Without Chasing, a space where we unlearn the survival patterns in love. This is my series called What I Wish I Knew Sooner About Love, where I share the lessons I learned the hard way so hopefully someone listening can learn them in a more gentle way. And today's something I wish I knew sooner about love is this. You cannot convince someone to choose you. Not with patience, not with explaining, not with effort. If someone is not ready to choose you, there is nothing you can do to make them ready. Nothing. And I learned that the painful way. There was a time when I really believed that if I just tried harder, things would work. If I showed up better, communicated better, loved better, eventually the relationship would feel secure. But over time, I realized something very uncomfortable. The more I tried to convince someone to value me, the more I slowly abandoned myself. And love shouldn't require you to disappear. Because convincing someone to love you is exhausting. You start overthinking everything. You start questioning yourself. You start asking questions like, did I say something wrong? Was I too much? Maybe if I just adjust a little. And before you know it, you're doing all the emotional work in the relationship. The difficult part about this pattern is that it doesn't always feel like convincing while you're in the moment. Sometimes it just feels like trying to make the relationship work. You tell yourself, maybe they just need a little more time. Maybe they've been hurt before. Maybe if I just show them I'm different. So you give more time, you explain more, you try to be more accommodating, more understanding, more patient. But eventually something inside you starts to feel it because deep down you're tired. You feel it. You're the only one trying to hold the relationship together. What changed everything for me was realizing something simple, and that was that love that has to be convinced usually isn't love that's fully available. That realization hurt at first, but it set me free. Because once I understood that, I stopped trying to prove my worth to people who were unsure about me. Instead, I started asking different questions. Do they actually have the capacity to choose me? Do they actually have the emotional maturity to love me well? Not someday, not eventually, but right now. And a lot of time, the honest answer was no. And that shift changed the way I looked at relationships. Because when someone truly values you, you don't have to keep explaining who you are and why you matter. You don't have to keep reminding them what you bring to the table. And you definitely don't have to keep shrinking yourself just to make them feel better in the relationship. Real love doesn't require constant convincing. Real love recognizes you from the beginning. Something interesting happens when you stop convincing people to choose you. You get your energy back. You stop chasing clarity from people who aren't offering it. You stop performing for acceptance, and you start trusting something much quieter, your own intuition. The kind of intuition that says, if someone wants to be here, they will show it. Not with promises, not with potential, but with consistent action. I remember this Valentine's Day. I received flowers with a card that had a very simple message written inside. The message said, not just words, action. And that moment reminded me of something important. When someone values you, you won't have to convince them to show up. Their action speaks for themselves. One of the most peaceful things you can learn about love is this. You don't have to convince the right person to choose you. They'll recognize your value without needing to be persuaded. They'll appreciate your presence without confusion, and they will show up in ways that feel steady and safe. And everyone deserves that kind of love. You deserve that kind of love too. So don't settle for relationships where you're constantly having to prove your worth. The right love doesn't have to be convinced. I'm curious though, have you ever been in a relationship where you felt you had to convince someone to choose you? If you're comfortable sharing, tell me in the comments. But just remember, you're not alone in this. Many of us were taught relationship patterns where we felt we had to work hard just to be chosen to. The love that's meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself. So always remember that. And if this message spoke to you, I hope you'll come back for the next episode of Love Without Chasing. Around here, we don't chase love, we choose it. I'll see you at the next episode.